Oh, we're going to revisit that. Oh, hello, we're live. We're live, and
We're
we
live.
actually have a topic today to talk about. Thank you
Yes.
for those of you who are joining us again on our very informative journey through camera shop talk. I wanted to start the day with something that not my phone notification. I wanted to start the day with something that I think is one of the best sounds in photography, and that's
what's the best sound in photography?
Starting up one of these flashes.
Yeah. Oh, we should do a sound. You know.
So I'm gonna turn it on.
Oh, interesting.
Did you hear that? Was it audible? Okay. It probably won't make the same noise the second time I've heard it. No, I could do it with a smaller flash. It's like,
hold on.
It has to happen the first time. It's like a cold start on a muscle car. You got to do it.
Yeah. So there used to be this bin of old flashes. Hold on.
I got it. Oh, this one's kind of a baby.
That one's pretty crazy.
This is a little 4-cylinder, so it doesn't it doesn't sound great.
There used to be a bit of old flashes in the middle room at the camera shop. We would every once in a while send a new person to check them all out and see which ones were working. That way we could sell them for like $5 on the floor. And when I was new, I got to do that, and it was a pain in the butt because all these old ones, they would still boot up and make this noise, but they never really fired. And you would just leave them on for like 5 minutes, and they still wouldn't fire, and it's just a mess. But I do like the sound of a flash starting up.
Yeah,
like kind of charging.
It's like a super death beam that you're starting up.
Right. It's like, and you expect to be here like a.
Yeah.
So
sci-fi noise. What were we going to talk about? So our topic today is going to be we have two things to talk about, but weird ways for your camera to die.
Weird ways for your camera to die. We're going to like make up the most bizarre ways.
Before we make some up, have you ever killed a camera in a strange way?
I have, I'm lucky. I've never had a knock on wood, I've never had a broken camera. So, but I know people who have broken their cameras, and I know how it happened. So I can like speak on their behalf,
I don't really have a broken camera. I have cameras that had issues. The weirdest one for me, and I had a screen protector on, but it was on my A9, and I had it sitting on my bed, and then my laptop, which I can't show you because I'm using it, but it's one of the older, it's not really that old, like a 2016 MacBook, not the Pro or anything, just like the regular MacBook, but the edges of it are really, really sharp. And so it slid off of a pillow I wasn't even like, I was like 5 feet away doing something else. And it slid off the pillow, and it just went fast enough to shatter the whole screen protector on my camera, which was really weird. And then the first day that I owned this RX 100, and part of the reason I will always use a screen protector on a Sony, I set it like screen first on the seat in my Jeep, and like a little pebble or something, some little piece of fine grit slid right across the center of the screen and scratched it. Like I didn't even use it yet. I was like getting ready to go to the park, and it just, I was like, are you kidding me? And then
that's worse.
So, and then eventually the little leaf thing stopped opening all the way. But if I shake it, or if I shake it hard enough, maybe not.
You're not shaking it hard enough.
I haven't used it in so long, so I don't know. But that's not really the weird part, because that just happened by default. But the stupid little rock day one.
Oh man, that's the worst. I hate I think I dinged my 1DX Mark II on day one.
Yeah.
I'm putting it down in the photo well at Rockies, so it's just like there's dirt everywhere. So it's bound to happen. I didn't want it to happen on day one, and it was just like I put it down, and you can hear it go. And I was like, oh, no. And so there's like a few little rock scratches on the side of my 1DX Mark II. But that's not like I can still use that,
Right. Yeah, we're talking about like certain death to your camera. Yes.
Yeah, certain death. Matt, who we've had on the show twice now, Dirksen, I will speak for him. He brought his D810 to Schwarbacher's Landing in the Grand Tetons, which is a famous little pond that reflects the Grand Tetons, and it's beautiful. And he had it on his tripod. He was packing up stuff. He was going to his camera gear, and all of a sudden he turned around and his entire tripod was in the pond. And he was like, "Oh!" And so, like, well, he heard it drop, and he just instantly went back and picked it up, and it was like in the water for like maybe 2-3 seconds, and it was just fried.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah. So
water
cameras.
Screw water, man. It just, why does water have to be so mean?
I'm waiting
it's so
to get
pretty, but it's such a jerk.
I'm waiting to get like burnt real bad at baseball, and just because I like to shoot during rainstorms sometimes when it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And so I'll sit in the well while it's like a torrential downpour because I know the game's going to get called soon and stuff like that. And so I'll stay there. But one time I know my camera's going to get hit in the hot shoe the right way or something like that, and it's just going to get fried. But
I saw somebody. I watched a YouTube video. I'm always worried about that too, especially with the Sonys. They seem to be meh. But somebody had. I know the D5, and I think it's only on the D5. But the D5 shoe cover, which is that like rubbered out one,
right, it's sick.
Seems like perfect for keeping moisture out. So I was maybe going to look for one of those to try and prevent that. Maybe you should get one.
Matt bought a couple extra ones. I don't think it fit in my Canon hot shoe or something like that, but I think it's like a third-party company. If there's got to be a company that makes
somebody has to make that.
Maybe Aquatech or something like that.
Yeah,
Aquatech's a cool company. I wish there was an ocean around here for me to buy like a water kit. But they make cool like.
There's another one. Odix or something, Omix or something like that. But they make a waterproof housing that's not like $2,000, like one of those hard cases, and it's looks pretty decent. I wanted to use it to go river rafting. I wanted to get like the 24-14 and just kind of have it like strapped to my chest and then just totally blind fire the thing while we're river rafting.
It's too bad that your RX 100 has that little shutter thing, because I've always wanted to put like an RX 100 in one of those waterproof cases and to go underwater with it.
Yeah, I want to just rip that out. Like I wish that camera I feel like would be so much more like durable, and like you'd be more inspired to take it with you everywhere if it didn't have that little piece in there and it just had a regular cap like the X100 from Fuji.
What if I'm waiting for a camera company to figure out how to make more durable little shutters, or maybe they're not going to, because that's the only thing that ever gets sent in for repair.
It's like you need to buy a new camera. So that's I guess that's the problem that GoPro finds themselves in, right? They make their cameras are indestructible, so they have to make them better. Nobody comes in with a broken GoPro. So
anything water wise, I mean, I have one, and I don't think you were here when I was on the phone at the store when I was on the phone with this person, but he called. He has a Sony RX 1R Mark II. It's like those full frame rangefinder one.
I almost bought one of those.
He put it on a drone, right?
Yeah.
He put it on a drone, sent me pictures, and it looked like it took a fall. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like the battery door was broken or something like that. He calls and he tells me like, hey man, like don't worry about the repairs right now. I know everything's crazy with the pandemic, whatever. And then I said, well, how did it break? And he goes, it was on a drone, and then an eagle attacked it.
They do that.
Dude,
they do that.
An eagle attacked his drone, and then his camera broke because it fell to the ground. Crazy. So American.
It's that's a common thing, actually, surprisingly, because the eagles are like, this is my sky, okay?
Right. He's like, he says, you don't need a permit to fly in my sky, because I'm just going to just destroy your drone and the camera that's on it.
Some of those videos, they capture that just before it happens. If they're recording while it gets attacked, it's pretty cool to see.
I wonder, you can get a lot of YouTube views.
Yeah. I guess I forgot that one. My mom is reminding me. I know that GoPros can be lost along Black Bear Pass. True. I had a GoPro Hero 3, and it was a pretty nice one. It was like the black version, I think.
Right.
And I had the suction cup mount, and I was off road in the San Juans in the Telluride and Uray area, and we were on Black Bear. No, we weren't on Black Bear. We were on Engineer Pass, I believe. Black Bear has a big old waterfall too, but Engineer Pass had something similar. And then I had it on the side of the Jeep, and the Jeep was pretty muddy, and I didn't clean that surface, and I went through water, like a pretty big water crossing, and then I don't know, 25 feet later out of there, I like turned around to go grab it to check to turn off the recording, and it just wasn't there. And then I like looked everywhere for it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that got washed down this waterfall and went way the hell down a mountain. So she also was reminding me that my A9 survived being on top of my other Jeep. I have a bad habit with cameras on Jeeps. I shouldn't ever mount them to Jeeps. Okay, so we were on our way to a Cubs game, and I had a rented 28-75 Tamron, like when it had just came out. So it wasn't even my lens, but I did have a L bracket on the camera, which I think is what saved the camera. But I set it on the top of the car, and I've got a roof rack on the Jeep, not like a substantial one, just like a standard roof rack. And I set it up there when I was loading everything else in the car, like a backpack, hoodie, all that stuff, like all the things you need to think about packing with you when you're going to Chicago, because the weather in Naperville, where we're from, is going to be maybe 30 degrees different in Chicago because of the stupid lake. And so we're like going 50 miles per hour now. And I said to my girlfriend, Hayden, I said, hey, did I hand you my camera? And she's like, no. And my face went just drop dead white. And I was like, I'm more white than it is now. And I was like, oh no. And I like, in the most slow way I could possibly drive, pull over, because I think it's got to be on the roof still. And I get out and I see it just sitting there on the roof, and it's tucked into the roof rack. Like it had just slid perfectly in there. And I think part of that's because of the weight of the L bracket has pretty sharp edges on the bottom. And I think that kind of helped it dig into the roof. Because otherwise it's pretty smooth, and it would have, I think, slipped off. So yeah, I drove. I didn't even notice it when we stopped to get gas, and I got out of the car again, and I still didn't notice it. And it's not like this Jeep isn't lifted really high like the other one. So I'm like taller than it, and I look at the roof line like right where it is every time I get into the car. I just didn't see it. And oh man, that was terrible. I never set the camera up there anymore. I set it on the hood right in front of the windshield, so that if I get in, I can see that it's sitting right there. But yeah, if I had to brake really hard, I would have just watched my A9 just go forward.
So bad. I've just been driving, like seeing your
yeah, that would have been the worst thing. Like, what was that? Oh, I hope it was something else.
Yeah, exactly. Man. I mean, I guess another way was car photographers could get their cameras run over. I'm sure
they can get them run over. They can drop them.
Oh, you could get it run over by a postal service worker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't know that we should. Maybe we should.
That's about as far as we'll go.
Yeah. Your camera can get run over by a mail truck.
By a mail truck. And so there was an article, Mitch, about filters. Literally 2 days after our insanely, controversial filter talk.
Yeah, we were
controversial.
We were stepping on all the eggshells.
We were just like, oh. But so there's this article on Pet Pixel today that says UV filters are not designed to protect your lenses, and manufacturers confirm. Now, to say this is a controversial article, there's 82 comments. That's a pretty decent amount of comments for like a Petapixel article. But can I just read some of these quotes to you?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Zeiss says Zeiss was the first company they hit up, or the writer hit up, and Zeiss says, quote, they are only developed to solve optical problems. Polarizers, reduce reflections, color saturation. Done. And then they say, quote, they are not developed to protect against high mechanical stress, and therefore the attached filter isn't the base to submit a warranty claim. So obviously they're like, well, you shouldn't rely on it to like save your lens. Obviously, no one's putting a filter on to like just prevent their lens from breaking because it got ran over by something, right? They're putting the lens a filter on to stop it from getting scratches and dust and whatnot. So Sigma says, quote, basically the UV filter is designed to reduce the influence of ultraviolet rays during shooting. Therefore, there is no purpose of protection, but it can be said that it has the effect of preventing scratches on the lens as a result. So
this is like the equivalent of taking your car that you totaled and telling the insurance company that, well, you had a clear bra on the front of the car to protect it. So those aren't designed to protect damage from the car. That's really dumb. I'm just gonna say that's really dumb. That whole thing.
Yeah.
It may not be the intended purpose by manufacturers who are trying to qualify warranty claims, which makes sense, but in reality, it is to protect the front of the lens. So.
Hoya, which we carry, says, quote, UV filters as protectors are also designed, but they also are in the business of
selling filters.
Selling filters. Yeah. Ted says filters definitely cause a lot more ghosting and reflection.
Yeah, some definitely can. It really, I think, depends on the lens that you're using. Like I said before in our other episode when we talked about filters, there are some lenses I'll use filters on, and some I really don't like to use filters on. And just because of the way that I use them and the way that you shoot. If you have totally controlled lighting and you know there's no wild light coming into the front of the lens, then a filter really shouldn't give you any problems. Or if you're not having some strange light hitting the lens in a weird way, then you really shouldn't have any problems. But if you're shooting into the sun, like I like to do a lot, then yeah, you can definitely see it, especially depending on the quality of the filter. Not saying any of them are perfect, but for many people, they're like really glad they had a filter on there when they come into the shop and they've got this shattered piece of glass on their $2,000 lens, and we're like, okay,
hey,
it's
got
just
your broken filter off. And they go, where can I get the exact same filter? Go straight back to the shelf. I would say, like, if you get a really poor like polarizer or variable ND filter, you can get those terrible crosses in the middle of your.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think it's all about like those fancier filters. If you're getting a polarizer or you're getting a neutral or a variable ND, you should probably drop the big bucks on it because you're gonna.
The variable NDs are they're definitely hit and miss. They're more of a video tool, I believe.
For sure.
I tried one for photography, and I instantly got that X pattern and immediately bought a fixed ND. But
screw this.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know. It's definitely not necessary, like we say, but it's like Fuji straight up tells you with the new X100. I know I talk about that camera a lot because it's great and it deserves it, but it needs a filter to be fully sealed. And you have your chances of it dropping on the actual filter itself are actually pretty high, because it'd be pretty hard to drop a lens perfectly flat on like the side of the barrel where it wouldn't hit the filter or something. And if it hits, then your camera's broken if it hits the other side or something, or if you just drop it in general. And usually lenses are heaviest in the front. The front element is generally the biggest, and that's usually where most
likely going this way.
Yeah, and that, if it falls in the dirt, even better. That might break the fall just enough. I know.
Right.
I don't remember if she had a filter on it, but Katie, we had her on the show before, and we talked about she had a really lightweight tripod because we were hiking a lot, and then and I've never felt anything like it. Like totally not her fault because there was no wind. I mean, it was like the calmest night, and you can't even hear the trees rustling or anything like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just like this rogue gust of wind that blew up all the dust everywhere. Like I had to turn my back to it and everything and like cover my camera. And hers just goes sailing off of this little ditch that we were standing next to. And it must have just went straight into a rock or something. And actually, credit to Tamron, the lens was fine. It was a 24-70 G2. And the only thing that broke on it was the front filter mount. Okay. So that took the brunt of the impact, but it had a hood on it too. But again, like a filter might have broken that fall. So but yeah, it can definitely cause issues to image quality sometimes, but it depends on how critical you are about it. So some people, they may never notice.
Yeah. Mitch, I want to get to Ted posted something on our Facebook that I have to pull up because it's about the flyover tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But before we get to that, Brandy, who kind of is in charge of our lab, has been text messaging me during this. I don't think she knows we're live. But she says that they developed 35 rolls of film today, and they have over 70 to go. So in 2 days, we took in over 100 rolls of film.
And if you think about it, it really only adds up to like less than one regular day of work because we're generally open quite a bit longer than we are.
Exactly. So we took in 100 rolls, 100 plus rolls of film at the lab in less than a day, basically, which is just mind blowing. But I'm glad we opened so people can get their film. I should probably put that on Facebook as like a post because that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, if you're watching and you dropped off film or are going to, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. That's nuts. So thanks to everyone who dropped off film. I think someone dropped off like 20. What did she say? 20 plus rolls by themselves today.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It
was like a gallon bag of film. So keeping the lab busy, man. Another broken. You want to know the craziest broken camera story I've ever heard besides the eagle attacking the drone?
Yeah, let's go.
I was doing a workshop. This is not to bash on Sony because we both have Sonys, and obviously their weather sealing hasn't greatly improved over the A7 II.
Yeah. Disclaimer: I trash them all the time because of my personal feeling of it. Not because I've ever actually had a problem. I'm just a whiny baby about it. Like I want it to.
He's a whiny baby.
I want it to feel better. So my Sonys have been fine.
Yeah, they work great. Except for this one, we were up at Echo Lake, which is at the bottom of like Mount Evans. Mm-hmm. It's like the lake before you head up the skinny road up Mount Evans. And we were gonna go shoot Milky Way that night. And so if anyone is familiar with the history of shooting Milky Way night skies on Mount Evans in say end of June, you're most likely are gonna not shoot night sky stuff because you're gonna get hit with like some rogue snowstorm or hailstorm and so we're up there. We got up there at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was supposed to be a nice day. And it just we're just drenched. Everyone's like, we shot for a little bit and then because there was really good light and all of a sudden it just went to shit and everyone was just doused. And so we had someone who hadn't taken their camera out of their bag yet. And now we're eating pizza at Bojo's Pizza in Idaho Springs, waiting for the storm to pass. We can go back up and try to shoot Milky Way later in the night. He brings it in. We're going to like talk about the Sonys and kind of go over menus and stuff while we eat pizza. And his won't turn on. But it wasn't his. It was a rental because it was like a Sony workshop. And so we're like, well, why won't it? That's so weird. Like, did you let it just get drenched while we were shooting? He goes, no, I stayed in my car basically. And we're like, what? And so like it was like 100% humidity, and I'm pretty sure that fried the camera because they sent it in and they said there was like terrible corrosion underneath like the battery area. And I
Which
was
model
just
was
like,
that one? Do you remember?
it was like an A7 Mark II.
Oh, Mark II.
Just an A7 II. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might have been an original A7R, but they said like they couldn't repair it because of like the corrosion that happened. I was like, man, this thing was completely dry.
Well,
I couldn't believe it.
So corrosion doesn't happen right away though. So it could have been a previous thing that he had done. He could have gone out in the rain.
That's true.
Before that, and then
the
added on moisture just finally started to kill it. So that's kind of the scary thing about getting water damage in a camera is you could go out and shoot in a torrential rainstorm and water can seep in and it'll still work fine. And then like a week later, it'll finally do its damage, and then you'll be like, "What's wrong? I didn't do anything to it." So
that's true.
I
think we had sold the camera to the guy like maybe a week earlier. I don't know, but it was like brand new camera. Yeah, it was. I was just like, I'm so sorry. Luckily, we had a ton of different cameras to let him use, but man,
I don't like to use plastic bags anymore because I find them sticky and annoying.
They get humid.
All wet. Yeah, they get weird. So I just bring like a small towel when I know it's going to be really wet. And if I'm using a tripod, I don't wrap it all the way around it. I just kind of lay the towel over the lens and over the body, and then I have pretty good access to everything. And it just
that's how I shoot in the rainstorm at coolers.
Just like throw a towel over the top. You know.
Right. We use like a hoodie towel, and or a hoodie. Yeah.
Yeah. If you forget a towel and you can stand the cold for a second, you can use your hoodie over it, or just yourself. If the camera's really low, you can just stay over it, which I do quite a lot.
Exactly. But rain cover is always nice to have just in case. You know, like
it is. Yeah, it's the most effective thing. But
and they're cheap. You can get a 2-pack for like $10.
Yeah, and they've got a nice
always have one in your bag.
Nice drawstring that go over the viewfinder and everything. So
exactly,
it's always worth it to try to protect your camera from water.
Yeah,
because they say they're weather sealed.
Yeah,
even the most weather sealed body has gotten water damage before. So
exactly. Anyone watching have any like broken camera scenarios, or just give us like the most random way to break your camera? You could have like your cat cats knock things off shelves all the time.
Well, I've had these lights fall down before from the wind, and I can imagine if you had like an outdoor shoot going on and your light got blown over and it blew into a camera.
That's true.
And took out both the light and the camera.
We were shooting the pet calendar for the Rockies last year, and it was kind of windy on the field.
Yeah.
But it was still like warm out, and so I think either that or Kyle Freeland literally tripped over our stand, and it knocked over, and he broke our stand and our umbrella. But he didn't break. The Einstein didn't take a hit. Yeah, Ted had 2 cameras break just from being out in the rain too long. It's crazy because you don't really know how long is too long.
Yeah, or how hard the rain is. Is a drizzle too much, or is a downpour too much? Nobody's ever that clear about it, and the companies certainly don't say it.
Right, exactly. I expect if I'm going to drop $6,500 on a camera, I should be able to sit in a rainstorm and take pictures.
Agreed. I think $2,000 should get you that capability.
Yeah, $2,000 should get you that. Is he on a 5-day backpacking trip in the Wind Rivers, and another at the end of a 5-day Teton backpacking trip?
Man, the Tetons are collecting cameras, man.
I bet you there's got to be so many cameras in the Schwabachers land. or are they just like, killed them and you fetch them out of there?
When you go, so I don't really like to use straps. I've talked about this before, but
yeah, you're an anti-strap.
Sometimes I have it on though, occasionally, and I do like to have it on even with the tripod.
Really?
Like if the tripod's sitting there in front of me, I'll still have it kind of over my neck. So if the tripod falls over or something, or if the camera wasn't locked on totally and it falls, that'll just catch it. So.
You can swing a 1DX monitor into your knee. Is this how you broke your camera, Michael? Is that how it stopped working? you could take a puck to the lens. Michael had a brand new, sorry for spreading information about you, but Michael had a brand new 100 to 400. This is the first year I started working with them, 2016, I think. And it was brand new. It wasn't the push pull. It was the twist new one, the Mark II. And it was like a preseason game. First time he used it, took a puck right to the front, and he had to send it in. It cost like the cost of a lens. That was crazy. Yeah, he says that he knocked his 1DX screen into his knee, and it turned black and white. I remember seeing it. It was
Why
like,
would you knee your 1DX, Michael? Come on.
Well, because he's holding them, at the hole, and so like, boom.
So does that count as accidental damage?
I guess it's accidental damage.
Or is it self-inflicted?
But pucks are pretty crazy.
Yeah, you had a 100. Man, pucks just like 100 to 400s because same thing happened to you. It just didn't break.
It didn't break. It kind of like knocked it and went back into play. I think the referees were staring at me. They're like, what? I guess you just play on if it stays in, just.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
What rule did you break by altering the path of the puck with your lens?
Everyone behind me is, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't."
If it was baseball, we'd be sitting there for 20 minutes talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, baseball, you can get hit with the baseball too. I've not had my gear hit with baseball. I've just been hit with baseballs. So, but like rib cage and shoulder.
Yeah.
That's about where I get hit. But I've seen a lot of people take like line drives right off their 400 2.8, which is like, $13,000.
Yeah.
Like, just like one day.
But a filter wouldn't be designed to protect them against that, though, right?
Right, exactly. Because a filter, they have the drop-in filters.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty crazy.
I was going to ask you about that. So, baseball, going off topic for a second here.
Sure.
How do you feel about the rules that were put in place to make the game go faster, but nobody knows them? So we spend even more time talking about the rules that are supposed to make us go faster in the middle of the game.
I know. Right? It's kind of like once the game starts going, you almost don't know what the rules are anymore. You're like, what, is that a rule? There's like, how fast? Or like, you don't notice like the clock on the back. No one's really enforcing the rules.
Right. Well, did anybody, I think you could only change out 3 pitchers, right? Or that was like a limit of 3.
Right. That hasn't
happened yet.
Season. Yeah.
And there's still no definition of like what happens if you go over 3.
Well, no, it's not 3. It's your pitcher has to face 3 batters before you can change.
Oh, right. But we don't know what the penalty is, right? If they,
I don't. Maybe you lose a challenger or something, or maybe there's like you just leave your guy out there while he suffers. It's like, oh, can't find the strike zone, but we're gonna let him get to one more batter because he has to.
But if you didn't follow that rule and you sent a new pitcher out, nobody's really said.
Like, I don't know what
you get hit with. Do they like add a run to the other team or something like that?
Or like they it's an instant walk anyways or something like that.
But then if they did that and then they don't know what the consequence is for breaking the rule, then the whole point of the rule is to speed up the game. I'm sure
they know what the consequence is, Mitch. We don't know what the consequence is.
Is it just the fear of the unknown will keep us in line or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Just do it in a spring training game.
Our manager likes to change pitchers all the time. And so I'm wondering how his strategy would change. Because at the Rockies, like one time we changed pitchers 4 times in an inning. It wasn't the greatest game for us. So that's what was going on. But
I have no idea how our current coach likes to do that because we haven't gotten to see him yet. But I can't wait to see David Ross be the coach.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
It'd be like our coach, last thing he did was hit a bomb in Game 7 of the World Series. So
yeah.
I don't care if he doesn't win games because that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I have a good picture of David Ross. I'll have to show you. My David Ross story. Do you want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm sitting in the third base well. They won the World Series. He's not playing. He's on the end of the dugout right next to me because I'm in the first seat in the photo well. And a foul ball goes flying over the stands and it lands. And he looks at me and he goes, "Did they catch it?" And I was like, I don't think so. And he goes, they never catch it. And I was like, what? He goes, they never catch it, but we're supposed to catch everyone that comes our way. And I was just like, and I like kind of laughed and I said, yeah, it's ridiculous. And then he goes, I'm glad you agree. And I was like, yeah. And then he like turned that and faced the home plate again. But at the same time, I was like, but you get the millions of dollars to catch them. I didn't want to say that. But and then I took a really cool photo of him, and so he's got super blue eyes, so it was pretty crazy.
David Ross is a cool guy.
Yeah,
him and Lackey.
Yeah,
I hated Lackey, but not. And then I started to. He was like one of my favorite people. Anyways, let's talk about camera stuff again.
One thing I noticed that a lot of people do that doesn't happen in the United States, but when Ichiro came to Coors Field to get his 3,000 he got his 3,000th hit at Coors Field.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were like 20 photographers in each photo well, and each photo well normally holds 4 or 5 on a normal, like really big game day.
Yeah.
And so we squeezed 20 on each well and these little stools. But every photographer from Japan that was in like the group following Ichiro had gaffer's tape covering their entire camera, like perfectly cut to like fit every crevice of their 1DX.
Oh wow.
And it's like, I think it was to stop scratches from happening when they put them on the ground and stuff like that. But it was like you couldn't see the actual paint of the camera body because they were just covered in gaffer's tape.
Huh. Well, I wonder why they do that instead of using one of those rubber covers.
Well, it's because rubber covers stop you from like getting your back button instantly like pressed down and stuff like that. I've always had problem with those rubber covers. So, and they're impossible to take off if you put a strap on your camera after you put that on. Like, there's no way to get that rubber off unless you rip it or take your strap off. I
kind of always looked at those as a disposable item. They're like a one-time use. You put it on once and then you cut it off.
Right. Yeah. The second I got my A7R3, I put one on because I know the Sonys have such sharp edges that I'm going to ding it instantly.
Yeah.
So, but my A7R4 just sat in my bag basically, so I haven't.
We'll have to go do some sort of shoot soon with it. Now that it's like partly comfortable outside, some of our parks are opening.
Exactly.
So
Rocky Mountain's opening partially opening parts of it. Partially opening parts. That's a
partially opening parts. And a lot of the snow is melting up there too, so we can get higher up to some of the above the tree line. I love being above the tree line. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's nice, fresh air,
I feel oddly safe above the tree line. I don't know why, but
I don't know. There's elk above this tree line, and
I know,
they can just rock you.
It's just like you can see everything all around you.
Yeah,
like you have like unobstructed vision, which I like. But
it'd be pretty sweet. They should map Rocky Mountain National Park and turn it into a map for Call of Duty. That'd be pretty sweet.
Agreed. I'd like to see like the Grand Canyon. That'd be cool.
Grand Canyon or just all like the real big national parks melted into one.
Yeah, you don't jump from the plane on the Grand Canyon one. You just jump off the Grand Canyon and land in the
off the Grand Canyon. Yeah. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, I've only been there once, and really weird feeling because that's when I felt that was probably the most unsafe I felt was at the Grand Canyon, and that's because I decided to go out at like midnight or really late at night to try and get the stars, and instead I got a moon rise. I didn't invite the moon, but it showed up anyway to ruin my Milky Way shot. But pitch dark, right? After I had walked away from like the lit area that we were staying. I don't know. I went like maybe 3 miles or something like that, and kind of just came up to a ledge that had no guard or anything like that, and just the pitch dark, and just knowing that there's this seemingly endless drop a foot away, and you can't see it was really weird. Like I know my mom is terrified of the ocean at night, and I kind of got I don't have that fear, but I definitely got that feeling from the Grand Canyon at night. Just
swimming in the ocean at night is pretty interesting. You're always kind of like, what is near me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can see it when it's daylight either, because the ocean, like where you usually swim, is pretty, murky and full of sand. But
Not in Florida. And
not Florida.
no,
Okay.
we were in Naples Beach, and
Hmm.
my sister lost a flip flop, and my mom went out to look for it and have fun at the same time. I think because she was just at the beach, so she's like, oh, I'll go out in the inner tube and look for it. And so she's watching for the inner
Right.
tube, and this what we assume was one of those saw sharks or sawfish, the ones with the really flat
Okay, yeah.
noses and the jagged things.
Yeah. Mhm.
We assume it was that, but something like that size and shape and dark like that
Yeah.
went under her, and she just came right back in.
Whoa. No thanks.
She's like,
Yeah.
nope.
It could have been
nope,
like
nope.
a sand shark, maybe. I don't know. But yeah.
So
They,
Ted, let me clarify on that. It was cool to watch the walls illuminate from the moon, but at the time I didn't have equipment that was good enough to handle that kind of dynamic range, so it kind of ruined my picture. But now, if I went back, it would be great. I agree.
Sweet. We were at Horseshoe Bend, and we're gonna have like the Milky Way just bending right over the horseshoe, but the moon was gonna be in the middle of it the entire way, and so we just didn't even shoot it because I was like, "There's no point."
Yeah.
It was just like gonna be miserable.
It sucks, and you can't. There's nothing you can really do about the moon. You can't bracket or something. It just
exactly.
It kills the whole sky. Guitar shark, says my mom. Yeah, we think it was that. It could have been a dolphin.
That it shreds.
We've seen a lot more dolphins at Naples Beach than I've seen guitar sharks, but I don't think it was a dolphin though, because
dolphins usually stick around and they play with you, or like they don't like just book it. They're like, they're curious. Sharks are kind of like, F this. I don't want to be near you.
We should. Well, yeah. Tomorrow we're talking about storm chasing. So
tomorrow we're not talking about storm chasing. She has an eye appointment. So sorry, I didn't put her business out like that. But she is going to be joining us on Friday instead.
On Friday, okay.
On Friday.
So we need to come up with something to talk about tomorrow. I guess we'll talk about the differences between guitar sharks and dolphins.
Yeah. That should be easy. That should take us 40 minutes. So
we could talk about underwater photography.
Underwater photography would be cool. I'd have to find. We could maybe try to find someone. I'll ask. What's his face? Clark Little. Just the most famous underwater photographer. He'll come. No problem. But yeah, I'll have to ask. Some guy just rode his mountain bike in my front yard. Rude.
We'll talk about the flyover too. We'll talk about
sure.
that. If I get to see them, I'm going to be stuck in an Amazon truck both days. We get the F-16s again on Friday, I think.
Oh, really? They're flying over again?
Yeah, same. The 140th wing is going over.
I guess they just need to get their guys' hours, huh?
Yeah, that's the people saying that this is a waste of time. Like, yo, they do this all the time. They just are actually showing us now. So it's cool.
Exactly.
This is a fun thing. So
exactly.
But yeah, they're flying over again, so we'll get to see. Maybe you'll get another shot at the F-16s, and then I'll try to as well. I think they're going over at like 11, they said, or something like that. So again, I'll be stuck in the truck. And
right.
But yeah, really excited to see
the camera shop. Trying to get a flyover the camera shop. That'd be sick.
That would be cool.
I don't think it'll happen, but who knows?
Western Colorado for the F-16s. Yeah, but they're still taking off from Buckley, I believe, because that's where they're stationed. So
okay.
And that's the coolest place to be anyway, because that's when they're at their lowest, and that's when they're gunning the throttle, so they sound cool and they're closer to you. So
sweet.
But they took off like 15 minutes earlier than they said that the flyover was going to start. We didn't stick around to see if they did come around, but I think they took off, formed up, and then buzzed the airfield they took off from. But we didn't stick around for that because we wanted to make it to the next location, and we were wondering why they took off so early, because it was like 20 minutes earlier than they were supposed to, and we're like, oh, probably to get information. So but yeah, I'll always talk about planes, Ted. Always. I love planes.
For sure. So Right on. Well, let's wrap this up because my girlfriend just showed up with a circular wall mirror that I have to help put on the wall.
Don't drop it.
Be right behind me. Right here. It's gonna go right here.
Oh,
So
good.
it should be good.
All right, everybody. Well,
This
thank
has
you
been-
for watching, and continuing to watch with us all this time. We've done, I don't know how many episodes we've done. We've done millions of these.
This is our 39th episode, Mitch. We counted yesterday.
Billions of them.
Millions and billions.
And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about maybe some underwater photography and some other things. And then Friday, we've got the exciting storm chasing topic that we're both interested in. And so good things are going on.
Yes.
And we'll have more news about the store as soon as we have it. So
for sure. Yeah. If you have this is week 7 of our show. If you have film, bring it to the camera shop, put it in the Dropbox because we found the key now. So you can drop your film in the film drop. And yesterday there was a bunch of funny videos, people dropping film off late at night.
Yeah, those are funny.
So someone sealed their film with a Band-Aid, which is super sketch during like a pandemic. But yeah, so we'll talk more about our experiences with the film drop too. So right on, let's get out of here. I'm in the broadcast. I didn't bring us here. I have a book here, 500 cameras book. It's exciting
Flash.
to read. Boom, and broadcast.
Flash.